Well, good morning. It's still morning. Yes, just got a message. I am doing Mindful Monday right now. It's Tommy G, middle-aged millennial, coming to you from the new middle-aged millennial page. And I was walking along, doing some journal review, and I thought, oh shit, it's 11. It's time to get on for Mindful Monday. And great thing is, and what I loved about the industry that I built my career in, IT, is that I can do that anywhere, anytime, well, with anyone, anyhow, any whatever, right? Who got new? What's new, Anne? Welcome, by the way. Good to see you here. You're not careful, you become my number one fan on Mindful Mondays. So, look, and I just want to check if wind is okay too, Anne, so if you could let me know. Sunglasses. What, do you think they're better on? Maybe I should, because it is sunny here. Can I still read comments? Thanks for the costume suggestion. There we go. All right. So look, it's about 30 degrees. We are here, of course, on the Gold Coast, but actually on the beach at Narrowneck Beach, and it's all good. I'm not careful. All good with sound. I'm not careful. Okay, I think I understand. It sounds good. Look, wanted to talk, being Mindful Monday, firstly on why we're having Mindful Monday, and secondly, things that we'll cover off over the next few weeks. As I've been doing a bit of a journey within myself for as long as I've been on the planet, actually, I've always asked a lot of sort of internalizing questions, and if I look at the practices amongst coaching these days, whether you're going to be a physical type of coach, sports coach, health coach, wellness coach, anything that's helping somebody else, one thing I've noticed is where it all starts. For example, like let's say food, and you want to lose weight. You go, okay, I just need to do this diet, which is the how, and if I do this, we're all good. And of course, we've learned that actually doesn't work for everybody, because you'll hear me again and again and again say that we're unique. We have different set of genes that we're expressing, and we respond differently to different environments, food, etc. But no matter what great information on a how you can give to anybody, and you can have all these different little sets of programs and so on, which I have too, and I've done the coaching training. I trained as an executive coach at the self-plug, Executive Coach Institute of Australia, they were called, about 20 years ago. And for those that are Australian will know Michael Bevan. I actually did it opposite Michael Bevan, which blew my mind, because I played cricket for 20 years and was a huge fan, and all of a sudden here I am with this guy, and they put us opposite each other as a pair. I was like, I couldn't concentrate the first day. It was like being on a first date kind of thing. Where was I going with this? And look, and I've also trained as a Gallup, certified Gallup coach. So I'm just trying to give some context to where I'm coming from here, okay? Now just finishing off, actually, certifying or becoming endorsed in Brian and Carrie, who are mentors and coaches actually of myself, but they also have a program which I've been going through as well, and that's coming near to its end. And it's actually the best bit of material that I've come across. Different methodologies. You look at, for example, Gallup Strengths. It's all about finding out the ways that you naturally think, feel, and behave. And some of those are like being over-schooled. It's like doing something that your heart's not really in, but you become so damn good at it, or you're good at it, but you don't really like it. So some of that can fall into there, but the questionnaire has been built up and refined over 80 years. These are guys, and it wasn't cheap to do this coaching. It's the most expensive course I've ever personally paid for, but it's the top notch when it comes to, especially, I mean, it's quite accepted in the corporate world, but can be used, of course, across life, because what you're looking at is, talent themes, looking at your top 5, and everybody knows the philosophy about concentrating on your strengths and focusing on those. Well, that's what it's all about. But you say, okay, great. What are they? And so this will define out scientifically in a 40-minute questionnaire online that costs like all of $39 US. What your in fact, what your 34 talent-themed strengths are, and it will rank them in order of intensity. Now you can't, if you had the same one as somebody else, which apparently it's a 1 in 3.3 billion chance or something, or 3.3 million, anyway, a lot, the probability of having the same as somebody else, that's the varying levels of intensity relative to each of them, right? And so, hey Cynthia, welcome. Wow, you've been away for a while. I know you've been detoxing off digital, but being able to rank where your the way that you naturally think and feel and behave in those different talent themes, all 34 of them, right? Now, your intensity versus somebody else's intensity may be different. Hola. So it's not to compare, it's for you to know you and to know what your top 5 are, which are, the most intense strengths and where 80% of your returns will come from, and then you have 5 more beyond that. And people aren't aware of what they are to begin with. When they are, they know then what to focus on. Now, I know this, I'm going to loop back, I'm going to close back on the original question. I know what it was that I set upon this, right, with regards to being mindful. But being mindful plays into everything. So, just getting back to the strengths for the moment. So once you know those talent themes and the strengths, great. Now I'm sort of like moving from that unconscious, incompetent stage where I know I'm not good. I didn't know about that. Now I know about them. So now I'm, conscious. Now I'm conscious, incompetent. I know I don't know how to do that, right? And what do we got here? What are your top strengths? Okay, I'll tell you in just a sec. To then move to that next step of becoming conscious competent. So where you start to focus on making the move, and that's where you put in the effort and the skill to start to learn how to use those strengths once you become aware of them. The thing is, there's some work that needs to be done to get you to invest in those talent themes, and they're only talents. Like anybody has a talent, it only becomes a strength when they start to exercise that muscle and learn it. And of course, you need to know what it is to begin with, so you can focus on it, right? That's it with coaching. I mean, so getting that move from here to here in coaching is what I call coaching. Everybody has their different coaching programs and become a health coach, but it all starts in the mind is what I'm trying to say, right? So you'll have all these different coaching programs and courses. Getting someone to move from here to here is what it's all about. Now, I've also got my mandala of my 7 my 360 degrees of the way to lead a long, healthy and optimized life. Before I go into that, I'm going to answer Anne's question. Didn't forget you, Anne. Mine are, first one is connectedness. That's to do with being able to sort of like get bits of disparate data and just see the connection in things. Not necessarily just connecting as an individual, right? Which, Anne, I think from PH360 analysis, you're a connector, which is more about connecting, a lot more connecting with people. Connectedness is more about how you see things are connected, right? And they could look disparate to other people, but being able to go, oh, if I do that, and that's going to connect to that, which is going to affect that way, that then will cause this to happen, right? And that can be individuals, it could be things, it could be any form of phenomena, but being able to see the connection in different phenomena, if you know what I mean. And then, for me, my career has been built on alliances, and partnerships. So I will look at that and say, okay, how can we connect these things together heading in one direction where there's no friction, but actually it becomes a 1 + 1 = 3 type synergistic situation. All right. So that's kind of handy for me, was for me in my previous career, and it still exists today, where I'm actually still doing technology alliances, but now with my own entrepreneurial flair in the digital health space, because it's connected to health, which is what I'm about in my, if you want to call it Tommy 2.0 phase of my existence on the planet, and seeing how age reversing can play a part in that. So second one for me is Maximizer. That's about getting return on investment, productivity, and that actually fits in nicely with all the analysis I've done of myself, also with Personal Health 360. If you go to personalhealth360.me, and if you want to sign up for a year, I can get you about a 20% discount on that, so let me know. They've got a great video as well, or you can PM me if you want, and I can tell you more about it. But I'm a health type, and I won't go into depth about it today, but my health type as a crusader, which is one of 6 broad health types that people slot into, which have similar characteristics, although we are still all individual in there, is about, where was I? Yeah, so Maximizer, productivity, efficiency fits in with my Crusader PH360 as well, analysis mentally and how I naturally think, feel and behave. And so that gets a double whammy on there. And I think, okay, and I know that in me. It's like, don't waste time. How can I be more efficient? How can I optimize lives? Which is a big part of what I'm building in in health education, ageless rejuvenation, and I'm building a team and movement around that. My third one is futuristic. Love looking into the future, right? Absolutely love looking into the future. And with that, I've been fascinated about where things can go and where technology has really been a great space for me to thrive in. I've loved what technology could do for business. You know, in my 28-year career in IT and building business partnerships between different IT companies. And, I'm bringing that to my future now and seeing how I can take those skills and use them in health. And hence, digital health technology plays a pretty significant part of programs that I build to bring people the best, the latest and the greatest, and do it in the most efficient way and automated way possible so that they can optimize their lives, right? And that's what I love about IT, apart from the location independent nature of it, like where I am right now. And, I'm not at work, and this isn't a job, this is a passion, and it's about serving people and helping them to make differences in their lives. That's futuristic. I just find the future very exciting, always. What I have to be careful of is not losing myself into the future, and remembering that it's all about keeping your eyes on the horizon, on the big picture. Absolutely, right? Eyes on the prize, but feet on the path. Or keep your what's the name of that song? Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Remember that one? I can't remember. Anybody know who the artist is for that song? Anyway, so futuristic then moves to strategic. They tend to go hand in hand, and when you're looking at this Gallup strength stuff, you've got to start to look for pairs of strengths, because that then increases the intensity around a similar sort of a domain, right? Or a strength domain, and there are 4. Just to let you know, so we'll take a little side shot here, a little side note. The 4 domains, they're all 34 talent themes, or what are also named strengths when you invest in them, don't forget, is that there's influence, there's relationships, there's execution, and there's strategic. All 34 fall into those 4 categories. So when you have futuristic and strategic, they live together, in guess where? Strategic, right? And so not only am I looking to the future and seeing how that can make a difference, and I'm visioning out forward, but I'm then also looking at, for example, how to get there. And how to get there becomes strategic. And that's, option A, B, and C. Or if we're going to have an issue that could happen, how do we get out of it? Let's get strategic. Let's think up option A, B, and C. Right? So I'm always thinking also ahead, as into the future. I'm excited about the future. I'm also looking at risks and opportunities and how things could fall out. And that's why, getting back to the PH360 stuff, personalhealth360.me, if you have a look, that fits in nicely with Crusaders being what they call an ecto-meso body type, where to survive, they need to be thinking ahead because they can't take many hits. And so we tend to be thinking constantly, right? Our brains are constantly on the move. So yoga for the spine, apparently, to relax that, and for the mind, to relax the mind, and meditation is very good for my health type. So I'm intermingling a couple of approaches there, but here's the thing, once again, this is all great knowledge. That's my top 3 so far. But when people find this out and then they've got a goal, they want to get somewhere, that's when coaching comes into it, and then having the right, platform to do that with. And like the best one I've come across is, Brian Carey's BCAT program, where it's built on 4 pillars. So being mindful, whether it is that you want to, lose weight, whether you want to, look, you want to build muscle, you want to eat better so that you have more energy, you want to, all these changes. Now, what have you got to change? You've got to change certain habits, certain things. At first you need the knowledge, and a lot of people will go and say, yeah, I know that already. So I'll say, well, I don't care. Congratulations. But what have you done with this knowledge? That's the key piece. And being able to be a coach to support people in adopting the habits required, or finding out what's holding them tied to the dock that they need to be released from to move forward. So that's the first part and the first pillar of 4. In fact, there's 5. 5 is sort of outside of the actual, well, let's say it's the sharpen the saw if you're a Covey fan, and that was his 7th habit, sharpening the saw, which is to do with growth and accelerating and elevating and so on, and accountability. That's the 5th pillar. We'll go into that later. But the first one is about learning about your language. What's going on in your head? What's sitting in the subconscious that's perhaps holding you back, and reflecting and never judging it, but observing it, watching it, looking at it. So this mindful stuff, and doing that in the beginning, rather than the grind and hustle, whatever's there, just bloody get off your butt and get to it and get it done. It's not sustainable. You've got to have a look at maybe what's holding you back, accept that that's the case, and it's some old wiring that was there from some issues in your legacy in your past. And as you become aware of them, it's funny how things start to change. It's like meditation, it's like watching clouds float through, and you don't judge it, you don't beat yourself up about it, you say, well, it's there. Okay. And as soon as you accept that it's there, guess what? It tends to go away. Right? It tends to go away. And as you strengthen that new path going forward, it becomes less of a hindrance holding you back. So, strength number 4, getting back to Gallup. It's a very long answer to Anne's question, but I am threading in the intent of this call based on that now, as I do it on the fly. Number 4 for me is, what is number 4? Did I skip? I might have skipped one. Or I've gone through 4 already. Because it was connectedness, it was maximizer, it was futuristic, it was strategic, and now the final one, the doors. Was it the doors? Is that right? Oh my God. Oh. Did you know that? Was that a quick Google search? The doors, James Morrison. Holy crap. Keep your hands up, keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel. That's it, yeah. Anyway, the Doors, great figure, great band. So the 5th one is communication. Go figure. again, here I am communicating, love doing it, love expressing. I do sing part-time, not enough lately, but a lot of things to do with expression, and that's why I love doing FB Lives. And more so if it's going to help some people changing their lives or becoming more aware on things that maybe they need to focus on to be able to move forward in life and head back towards that, leading a healthier, longer, optimized life. So that's my top 5. You then have another 5 which support. You look at how they can link in and support those focus 5 in the beginning, right? Your signature themes, as they call it. And once you start to focus the energy that you have, right, then that energy is going to focus on that is going to probably give you the best returns in you as an individual, becoming the best you. So that's pretty important stuff, not only the Gallup stuff just there, but coaching in general and being mindful. So, it's funny, I've got with my mandala of the 7 facets or parts of life that if you invest in proper, from everything I've read, the thousands of hours of skirting through the internet and whatever, it seems to be the common themes always. The core to those, the first ones are basically, if you want to get really basic, I called it consume because it's a bigger picture, and there's things that we consume which are not good as well that you need to minimize. But let's get down to one key one that you do consume, which is eat. And the next one's to do with being physical, move. And then the big title of the other piece, which is rest. So that's 3 of the 7. Not number 3, but there is a core 3 right there. And with our initial program that we've built, that is being launched soon, we will be focusing on those 3 as well as the 4th, which is actually going to be the first one, which is, guess what? Mindful. Because nothing changes unless it goes through this switchboard up here first. And if you've got the train switched to the wrong tracks, then you're not going to get there. And so mindful plays a part not only in the beginning but in everything. And the funny part I was talking about before is that I think I need to change my logo, which is the mandala with the 6 pieces of the pie, and the first being mindful, which is true, but it actually is a circle in itself, and that it needs to be across everything, and that needs to be depicted, and that's what I'm trying to illustrate here, right, verbally. So mindful is the beginning of all the pieces and the end of all the pieces, because all the decisions that get made through here. And no matter whether it's to do with eating, moving, sleeping, digesting, fasting, am I going to eat that right now? Or am I going to eat, am I going to eat based on emotion and pleasure, or am I going to eat on purpose? That long-term, gratification versus short-term gratification, which has basically screwed up the Western diet, along with a lot of other things. But going through here, getting the knowledge and then acting on it is a thing, and there's emotion that comes in between, and getting that wiring sorted. Firstly, knowing that you deserve to be successful, and releasing from that dock, that thing that's holding you back, as it's called in the Ryan and Carey program, learn your language. And then the next step beyond that is to review your direction, basically your goals. Where is it you want to go? And I'll add a touch here around being mindful, being an ex-corporate guy, knowing, having 28 years worth of knowing how the corporate world works. We had those things called SMART goals, remember? Yeah? I learned the SMART goals aren't so smart. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. The corporate world still is very much entrenched and built on that, as is Wall Street, right? Every quarter, in fact, with the calls that happen. And a lot of the leaders in those organizations, the original founders, not just operational CEOs, but the founding CEOs, went in there for a reason, and I can bet you it wasn't just to make a buck. They go in there because they're driven by some purpose. If it's just for a buck, they would have got weeded out well before they became successful, I can tell you now. Because there's a lot of things that will come against you, and if it's not a real desire and deep passion and purpose that's connected to moving forward and being successful in a business, they started what's called a business because they wanted to affect some sort of change or create something they thought was great for the world, right? And then it'd be fun in the process. You need a lot of that fun to go against a lot of the non-fun that's going to happen. Once again, it's going to be driven from something that really charges somebody up if they're a founding CEO. So, where was I going with this? Damn, missed my place there. So reviewing your direction. There we go. If you know, and you set up maximum 3. I love the number 3 because I can digest it, right? I'm not super smart at keeping a whole lot of data sitting in my head. Thank God for iPhones and things like that, especially for Google Maps, because I got no sense of direction. I didn't get handed that one at all. Focusing on 3, that's enough. And I, with myself, because they are part of my journal every day, have those 3 spread across 3 important parts of my life. One tends to be physical, one tends to be about making a change in the world through, what's called a business, or I call a movement. Hey, Maddie. And the third one is around connecting into the world, into me, into my partner, etc. So that's where that's the 3 areas that need to work well together. And I have one, and I remodified it this year to step it up to the next level. And so reviewing your direction, having those 3, and not being SMART goals. The SMART isn't smart, and that's where I was before. What does SMART stand for? For those that have been around long enough, read enough books and corporate planning and goals and so on. And where am I, by the way? Oh yeah, I see where I am. Hey, babe. Hey, Maddie. Specific. SMART. Wow, how can I not remember the second M? I used to know this off by heart. What have I done? I think I've erased my corporate brain. Oh my God. Specific. What's the M stand for? Maddie. I'm having a brain block on M in SMART goals. A stands for achievable, R for resource, right? Or relevant, sorry. So it's got to be relevant, and T for time. Specific. What's the M stand for? Damn it. Manageable? No. All right. Anyway, the part I want to have a look at here is the time piece. We go and put a time on a goal. Meaningful? No. Damn it. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. Relevance, the meaningful part. Measurable. There it is. Specific, measurable, achievable. Who knows about whether it's achievable or not a lot of the time, or it's an underachiever one. Relevant. Well, it may be relevant today. It might not be tomorrow, and things are changing so quickly. And time. And you're going to be so damn smart. You can actually put a time of when you're going to get it done by. Is a crock of shit, basically. Now, I think the intent that SMART was actually built on. Yeah, thanks, Elisa. I'm glad I got it just before you guys told me. Right? I'm not that. My memory's not that bad. Too much red wine and rosé, perhaps, in my younger years, and the Gronies. So with SMART, right? Again, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time. You'd have to be a bloody supercomputer in yourself to be able to get that right. The thing is, if you just go on intent, that becomes a lot smarter than a SMART goal, because it's about reviewing your direction, and you review your direction as the second pillar is to do with making sure, is this still relevant? Let's have a look at this. Let's check it. Where are we at? Some thoughts around this. Do I need to change it? All right? That'll keep you on purpose, because so many things change so damn quickly on the outside. I mean, everybody knows that we're living 2 or 3, 4 careers compared to just our fathers and mothers these days. Everything's become so dynamic, partly due to the IT industry, right? I'll have you know. And how that's become so pervasive. I mean, look at our phones, for shit's sake. I mean, we're connected to each other, we're communicating in many different platforms and threads at once. We're getting digitally smashed right now, right? And we're just, I think, starting to wake up to come out of that. I got to tell you, if someone calls me on a phone these days, I hate picking up. People have learned not to call me anymore, but I do it on chat, right? I guess that's part of being a middle-aged, transforming into a millennial. But there it is. You know, it was my father. Even though it's good, he'll communicate on WhatsApp, but you know, he's still a big one for the phone. Yeah. And whereas my mother, I mean, she's always been into tech. In fact, quick side note. Sometimes she has bought technology, and me being in the IT industry, before I even get my hands on it. So pretty dynamic lady from that point, and she continues to stay young and refuses to grow old. I wonder where I got it from. There you go. So agelessness, that's what I'm all about. Okay, getting back to SMART goals. So you can see it's all about intent. And what I find with that is that it allows that freedom to keep testing whether it's relevant, being connected to your purpose, but in the direction of where it is that you want to go, that vision and that picture. Because it's so damn hard, and having been a number of years in the corporate world, like most of us have, right, you hardly ever get it right. You hardly ever get it right. And then, here's the other part. You get chastised when you've missed a target by a couple of percent. Failure. What a crock of shit that is. Who knows whether it was the right target to begin with, right? Whether it's actually still relevant to the business anyway, even if a hero made 120%, right? It's bullshit. It really is. It's an old, antiquated bullshit system that's still entrenched within the corporate world. There's a lot smarter way to go about it. Instead of looking back, and when I used to coach my people, I say, well, look how far we've come. That's called counting your wins, and that's the next one, right, on these 4 pillars, is counting your wins. When you look at, okay, 99%, holy crap. We've got 99% there to some goal that's supposed to be relevant. Now, maybe not, right? So that's where I think SMART goals are not smart, they're stupid. Intent is smart, reviewing your direction, right? Reviewing your direction and then counting your wins for how far you've come, not that little piece that you focus on that becomes your whole mind's world that you're a failure, which is really a crock of bullshit as far as I'm concerned. You know, have you made progress towards your intent and goal? That's what the win is. And if you've made progress, awesome. It's some things that life come at you and get in your way a bit and slowed you down from perhaps where you want to be, maybe, but you know what, fuck, that's going to continue to happen. And sometimes you get a bit of a kicker, you get a free kick where it'll push you along faster. The thing is, review that direction and count your wins along the way. That's success, right? So then the 4th pillar is agreed. I was never so smart with SMART goals. I thought I was smart because I could usually recite like that what the acronym stood for. And it's stupid. I kept thinking about it, thinking, but hang on, is this goal relevant anymore? And yeah, at least, you know, it's like, fortunately, some people aren't that smart or won't over-intellectualize it and will just actually follow their heart and their purpose. And that's about knowing who you are. And it's funny how we do spend our lives, and you know, I remember my mother talking about this as well, where you've just got to start then peeling off the onion and all the pieces that perhaps held you back. You know, what's keeping you held to the dock, review your language. And so we jump to the number 4, which is imagining your outcome. And so what's that about? Well, like it says, once you've got to that goal, you know, and you hear this in this sort of put together in different ways from different sorts of programs and philosophies, but it's really becoming clear on that picture that really is where you want to go, that vision, What does it look like? Painting, that painting changes day by day as you evolve as an individual, but keeping your eyes on the vision, right? Keeping your hands on the wheel and eyes upon the road. Is that it? Yeah. And that road's going to move. You're going to have left and right little forks along the way, but as long as you stick with your purpose, you'll know which way to turn, right? And that's about knowing who you are, which means you've got to get rid of all that programming and conditioning that unconsciously is there, that's been holding you back, tied to the dock. So you can see how this all plays out, right? So imagine your outcome and get excited about it, right? It's Jim Morrison, not James Morrison. James Morrison is actually a famous trumpeter. He plays a lot of great brass here in Australia. It's Jim Morrison. Yes, thanks, Maddie. Jim Morrison. Yeah, James Morrison, there we go. Well, it is James Morrison. It's just, he was called Jim. He called himself Jim, not James. All right, we're going to head back. So, imagine your outcome, getting excited, painting the painting. That'll evolve as you evolve as an individual, in my experience, right? Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. There it is, there it is. So imagining your outcome, painting that picture, and I tend to do that with the 3 goal areas I mentioned before. One was around my, if my body doesn't exist, being a spiritual being, having a human experience, well, your human part will go away, which means I ain't mixing it with the rest of us on the planet. So that needs to stay intact, and and I like it to be healthy and in good nick. And I've been working on that the last few years, and with a bit of help of Mr. Matt Atanasio, who's here right now. He's just given me my recent program, connected once again into my PH360, which is all my epigenetic analysis tool. Not the one that I've built. I didn't build that tool. I just follow the framework. And Matt and I have been working on a program for me, but that's come out of the inventory of exercises that science says, according to this epigenetic organization called ph360.me, that these are the best ones for a crusader health type. So we've drawn from those. And Maddie, you'll be happy to know, and I haven't put this anywhere, but I've got the Withing scales that not only measure my weight and heart rate and every other rate, but also muscle. And we were looking at power, as you know, for this year. And muscle measurement, whether it was incorrect or correct to begin with, I'm using the same index, let's call it, has gone from 59.6 to 60.6 in the last week. I haven't seen it regularly hitting above 60 for quite a long time. Well, I've been doing endurance training only. So I think we're making progress there, buddy. That's a measure for you. Don't ask me about the other measures of my waistline, because I haven't actually measured that yet, because as I've been changing food, I've put on a little bit of weight. So I'm going to measure that now, because it's all going to be upside for going the downside. Boom, there you go. Yeah, brother. And I'm feeling stronger around my core as well. The kettlebell 24, that one worked it well, I think, buddy. So thanks for that. Now, getting back to imagine your outcome. That one, for anybody that's got an imagination, you can have fun with. And I do it in each of the areas of my body I was talking about before, my physique. And I've been moving more to a power building program for this year for the first time in years, right, after doing a lot of endurance stuff. And then looking at the second one, which is around building a movement on health education and helping people live meaningful and more optimized lives on planet Earth. And that's a constant evolution. You ain't never going to get to the end of that one. It's just an evolution on how to get more and more out of life by putting more and more into life, in line with coherently who you are between mind and heart. And then the final one that I have there is social connection. And so I imagine those goals, those 3 goal areas, if you like, those 3 sort of intents, and there is a longer description for each. I won't go into it now, but they're the 3 categories. So I have a goal that aligns with each of those, and I imagine what it's going to look like at the end as I see it today with my current level of consciousness and what I want it to be. Consciousness as in knowing myself. So when you start to paint that picture and imagine in your head, it becomes exciting. It becomes vivid, and what then starts to happen is there is a pull, I believe, that starts to happen where rather than getting worried about the how you're going to get there, it just actually starts to come to you. And I've been having this experience more so, and I've been journaling for 2 years. In the last few months since I left my corporate job, July 12 was the last day. I remember that one pretty vividly. The last 2 to 3 months, things have started to manifest beyond my imagination. Right, so a lot of, when you've got a startup, there's a lot of pre-revenue phase, and I've been here once before, about 10 years ago, 2 years before the global financial crisis came along and gave me a nice lesson, and so I went back into the corporate world to refuel, so to speak. And this time it's easier. Here's the part that's been harder. It's been more about the anxiety piece in my head than it has anything else. The hardest work has been traveling through my mind. Once again, this is Mindful Monday, right? Traveling through my mind and decisions I would not only make in here, but then how they would also translate into action. So, if it's not coming out of these or out of this, what other output mechanisms do we have? Writing, fingers we use for writing these days, right, on keyboards. And the mouth for communicating, it's another output mechanism we have. And then movement itself, another output mechanism we have. That's about it, there's not a lot more. And so how do you get it into those three things moving forward? To affect a change either in yourself, physically, or in the world, creating a ripple effect through trying to do what I'm doing right now. For those that are watching and those that will watch this FB Live later. So there's the 4 pillars. The 5th one, I'll keep brief. That's when you start doing it with somebody else, in actually reviewing your journal with another party. And I've noticed that has accelerated things in the last 2 months beyond measure. Beyond measure as in that I had no idea. My journal felt pretty slow on its own. With somebody else, doing a 5th pillar as they call it, and reviewing each other's journals, and then maybe giving a bit of feedback, provided it's coming from the right place, then that has been amazing. And what I've found is not only have I progressed faster, but my journal is a lot more rich, and I can see in the pages there's a lot more writing that's been going on. And so things have been happening faster, it's been elevating. So there it is, guys. It's it's so brilliant because it's so simple. And before I even start talking about the programs that I'm building or have built actually that are being launched, before going into the 7 different pieces of the mandala pie that I have on my website. So if you go to middle-aged millennial, make sure you spell that right, .com, you'll be able to see what's building out there right now. That's version 1.0, and there's a personal health dispensary, I called it, which is about how to holistically not only heal things, but start to thrive rather than survive, and leading a long, healthy, happier, continuously, right, optimized life. And for those that want to know more about Gallup, Tommy Gallant with 1L.com. That's more for my corporate branding thing. That's more for assisting corporates or execs that are time poor and are coming to the end of their careers, perhaps wondering what they're going to be doing next, and they want to do a bit of a makeover. And there's a program there and where they can rejuvenate themselves. The aim is to help At the moment, I'm focusing on IT execs proactively. Reactively, of course, I'll consider others, but keeping it to a very tight, small group of 5 or 6 individuals that I will be coaching one-on-one, and that will be specifically to that avatar. Why? Because I was that avatar. An IT exec, I know what the challenges are, I can relate more than anybody, and I think my exec coaching experience within the exec or in the corporate world, and specifically around IT, because I know specifically what their challenges are, especially in the sales and marketing end of the business, and helping them make certain transformations so that they can regain their youthful vitality in 90 days. So that's the TommyGallant.com. And middle-aged millennial. Millennial has 2 L's and 2 N's. If you have a look at this, the title on here, that'll help you in the spelling. It's a bitch to spell, but it kind of rolls off the tongue, and I think reflects my avatar for those that can relate or wish to. And there's something else I was going to say on that. So also, if you are looking at wanting to join a community, which we've kicked off recently, we've got about 58, 60 individuals. It's growing pretty quick in there right now. If you go on Facebook and look at heal.me, and what does that stand for? I always like playing with these titles, as you probably know, for those that have watched me long enough. Heal.me is health, education, ageless learning. And .me, well, that's all about you, right? I could play with that acronym and have something like middle-aged extraordinaire or something, I don't know. Right, but middle-aged extra, who knows, could play with it, but it's about me, as in it's about you. So heal.me on Facebook, as a Facebook community. Go and have a look at that. We've got about 60 people in there so far. So there's going to be some extra tidbits and ideas specific to that community that I'm going to be bringing on how they can lead a longer, healthier life. And I listen to a lot and have a lot of podcasts, look at a lot of stuff on the web, and to save people the effort. Some of the really cool stuff that I see, that I come across, that's like tapping right into my futuristic side, and I'm going, whoa, that is so cool. People need to hear, and it's amazing, when I'm sitting down with people or I'm meeting people and I'll talk about this stuff, they have no idea, firstly, that we are dying as a race 70% of the time due to chronic disease. And chronic disease is something that you've chronically been doing to yourself, attacking yourself 10, 15, 20 years. It's like you don't get cancer overnight. It's because you've been smashing your immune system with the wrong stuff, or not enough, or too much of. And so how do you find like that diet that's the one for you specifically, right? And supplements, too much supplements is detrimental. Too less in certain areas is detrimental. Are you absorbing it properly? What's the right diet for you? Where should you live? What sort of exercise should you be doing? When should you be doing certain things during the day? All these sorts of things. I'm going to be talking about telomeres in the community. This week. I'm aiming to do a couple of lives a week in there, and aiming to post every day, at least Monday to Friday. That's Asia Pacific time. That'll be Sunday to Thursday if you're in the US. And sometimes on weekends if I feel inspired, right? But at least 5 times a week there, and 2 times a week doing some lives. Some could be short, could be long. And telomeres we'll be talking about, which are claimed to be the indicator of the length of life you will lead if you lead a long natural life. All right. So if you want to come and listen to that, I'm going to be talking about that this week. Getting a bit more planned on content that's coming to you to warn you out, so you can see what you want to watch either here on our FB Live with the other, as I call, Health Avengers. So Monday to Friday, it's me on Mondays. Tuesdays is with Anne Shivas on how to live a pain-free life, or pain-free living. She's got a new program that is getting people signing up right now, and you might want to listen to that. In fact, that seems to be where we have most of the interest coming right now. In fact, double the count of all my other ones that I'm doing during the week. So the rest of my health Avengers are going to have to, my Health Avenger buddies in the, not the X-Men, but the H-Men team, I guess you could call it, need to pick up their game, guys. So on Wednesdays we have Anne Westron, it's a hard name to say, Murphy, and it's great. I mean, Anne's delivery and her passion around food and nutrition is second to none. And yeah, we'll get on the soapbox now and then, and you know, we'll shit can industry, which is all about making money. Well, we're about changing lives for the better, right? And you know, as far as the financial resources, they will come as a result of doing the right thing, not seeing what the short path is to the dollar and who cares about doing the right thing. So so foodie on Wednesday. We have things to do with the body and pain on Tuesdays with Anne Shivers. And then on Thursdays, we've got things to do with the body as well. So not so much from a rehabilitation point or pain, more so to do with moving, exercise, right? Mind you, Anne Shivers is no slouch on that either. She was a PE teacher, I learned. And in fact, being a Canadian, she was actually educated here on the Gold Coast. There's a tidbit for you. Fridays, we have basically a wrap-up of the week. And that's going to be with Doc Tester, Do-It-Yourself Health. And we might recap on a few things during the week. And Doc tends to go reasonably deep on fasting and digestion. You know, it's the engine room of life, as we're finding out. There we go. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's cricket season. Thanks for the shout outs. Yeah, no worries. And Maddie. So Health Avengers. Who was Thursday? Matt Athanasio. Oh God, sorry Matt. My God, did I just do that? I said Matt on Thursdays and moving, I think. So Matt Athanasio, thanks bro, for reminding me, our physiologist. And we get a passionate delivery from Matt every Thursday. It's funny, quick story there. I was saying to Matt a couple of weeks ago, and I was late getting on, and he had to move his time, and then I was running late, and he said, look, okay, I'm good for about 15 minutes. Well, an hour and a half later, almost. When Matt gets on the soapbox, he's on fire. That's the best time to be there and watch him. But didn't his mindset change? So, hey Troy, that's awesome, Tommy. Yep, excited to learn more from y'all. Absolutely, Troy, you're one of our favourite fans, and I hope this is making a difference for you and you're applying some of this stuff, brother. I like the box. You do. But that's okay. It's my job as the host to make sure that it's, well, in my opinion, heading in the right direction for the people and what they want. So guys, that is it. So we have our Health Avengers every day at around this slot. We're trying to lock them in to, it's 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. my time. We're sending out invites prior, more so now. I'm getting better at that. And our marketer to help me with that. That's about it. My God, that was a solo show that I didn't expect to go for an hour. But then again, someone who likes communicating, I guess it's always a danger. I hope you found some stuff useful in there. Just wanted to communicate, go figure, strength number 5, Gallop, what the intent of Mindful Mondays was. We'll go into more depth as we go. And yeah, hopefully you're going to find it useful. Please share this out if you think it's going to be useful to friends, family, loved ones, whatever. Moving forward, and of course we're aiming for it to be at the same sort of time slot with the Avengers throughout the week, Monday to Friday here in Asia Pacific, or Sunday to Thursday, at around, I think, depending on which part of the coast, 7 or 8 p.m. after dinner is the aim. Maybe I should do a bit of internet marketing myself and search when the best time is to get people online, but anyway, I've also got a life to live, so we'll make a compromise. All right guys, remember, enjoy life here, right now, today. I mean, how can you not? This is the office. This is the office, and here's a favourite pastime. This is what happens in Australia. Everybody takes the year off. This game, our version of baseball, it's called cricket. This is beach cricket, right? And this is living life right here, right now, being present with family. One thing Australia does well is it takes all of January off because it's a big sporting month. We just had the Australian Open, and where was Nadal last night? Anyway, Djokovic winning a record-breaking 7th. Ciao, amigo. And yeah, so remember, enjoy life here today, right now. We'll see you on the next live. Don't forget, similar time tomorrow, we've got Ann Shivers coming to you with some pain-free living, right? All the best, guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye.